Hi, everybody. It's Joe Denner, and I'm coming to you with another leadership lesson from the trenches. Today, I want to share a quote with you that I think is huge when it comes to building trust. And trust is essential in leadership. Without trust, there is no leadership, quite frankly. But I came across this quote from Stephen M.R. Covey, the son of the famous Stephen Covey of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Well, Stephen M.R. Covey wrote a book called The Speed of Trust. And in that book, he made a powerful, powerful statement that just grabbed my attention, and I want to share it with you today. And the statement is this: you cannot talk your way out of a problem that you have behaved your way into. Man, that is so good. And so I want to think about that today. You cannot talk your way out of a problem that you've behaved your way into. And I want to think about this in the context of leadership. And so I want to give you a personal story as an example of how this works. Years ago, I participated in a 360-degree evaluation process. And my team gave me some tough feedback. They actually told me that they didn't think I cared about them. And I got to be honest, that really hurt because I care deeply about them. But the problem was that I was doing things, I was behaving in ways that communicated to them that I didn't care. And the primary thing is that when they walked into my office, rather than turning around and fully engaging with them, I would stay right there with my hands on the keyboard, looking at my computer, and just kind of turn my head to talk to them. And that communicated loud and clear that I didn't really want them to be there and that I didn't really want to hear what they had to say or to collaborate with them on whatever problem it was that they were dealing with. And so I couldn't talk my way out of that trust problem or that problem of thinking that I didn't care. I actually had to do a couple of things. And here's what I want to really get at today is in order to change something and to build trust in an area where you have behaved your way into a problem, you have to do, number one, very intentional activities. You have to be super intentional about how you're behaving. And the thing that I had to really start doing was just pushing back from my desk, turning my chair, and fully engaging with them in conversation. And it was incredibly simple, but it was incredibly powerful. And I had to be intentional about it. But not only did I have to be intentional, secondly, I had to be consistent. It was one of those things where, when you first start a new behavior, people always wonder, are they going to keep doing this or are they going to go back to the person that I know? And so I had to not only be intentional, but I had to be very consistent and purposeful in that behavior. And over time, thankfully, things changed dramatically. Actually, I think it was probably one of the most important turning points in my career as a leader. And I would say from that point on, I went from a team that didn't think I cared about them to a team of managers who were fiercely loyal to me, and that was an incredible turnaround. And so I just want to encourage you with that. Another one, I'll give you a bit of a painful personal example, and that's that years ago, when my children were much younger, my wife came to me one day, and she knew I wanted to be a good dad, and she knew I wanted to be an involved dad. And one day my wife mentioned to me, hey, you know what, maybe you should start treating your kids like you treat your clients, because you don't ever cancel an appointment with your clients. But too often, whether it's promises that I've made or commitments that I've made to my kids get set aside for things that are more important, often having to do with clients. And while that was painful to hear, I so deeply appreciated my wife sharing that with me, because as I thought about it, I knew it was true. And by the same token, I could not talk my way out of that problem that I had behaved my way into. I had to learn and I had to practice being very intentional and very consistent at keeping the commitments that I'd made to my kids. And I think that I did that. And so I just want to encourage you today. You cannot talk your way out of problems that you've behaved your way into. You need to be intentional about new behaviors, and you need to be consistent in walking out those new behaviors. And I guarantee you that you can solve those problems of trust that you've created through the ways you've behaved over the years. It is possible, but you've got to be intentional and you've got to be consistent. So this is Joe Denner coming to you with another leadership lesson from the trenches. Sometimes those trenches are painful, but those trenches can turn, and we can create a new future with new sets of behaviors. So if you're watching this anywhere else but my blog, I want to encourage you to jump over right now to joedenner.com, where you will find a lot of other great resources for your leadership journey. Thanks, and have a great rest of your day.